Welcome to my podcast. My name is Corrinala. I come to you from the Pacific Northwest where I live with my partner, our 2 kitties, and 2 adopted Mustangs. Information about the Wildhorse adoption program will be in the episode description box. This podcast covers knitting projects, my horsemanship journey, and my other passions like vegetable gardening and bicycling. If you're new here, I hope you find the content interesting. If you're a returning viewer, it's always great to have old friends. The format of this channel typically includes musings on an early walk to the barn to feed the horses, then knitting content, some catch up on the horsemanship journey, and finally more musings or maybe a little bicycling footage if I was lucky enough to get out. Enjoy, and I hope to see you soon. Good morning, friends. Happy Friday, September 5th, 2025. I'm going to walk out to the barn and kind of tell you what's going on. I have a ton of knitting to catch up with you. When I get to the knitting section, I will, you'll see a big pile of bags and a couple projects I need to fix. And I have a couple knitting fails too that I'm going to frog and do something else. So let's walk out to the barn. Let's just have a little view of the garden. Squash is doing beautifully. Lawn needs to be mowed. I probably should go check that zucchini out there, make sure that there aren't any zucchinis the size of a Subaru, as one of my fellow gardening friends says. The mint is doing beautifully. I planted a potato in that spot where the cabbage was. I need to do something with the kales. It's getting a little beat up. So this plant has a little patty pan type squash or scallop squash. I've complained that this one has a lot of male flowers and I thought it was a zucchini. But it turns out it's patty pan. Beans are climbing up to the roof. Harvested a few, usually about 4 at a time. There's a cucumber in there. Potatoes, planted those. My little lettuce patch. That is a cucumber I pulled the other day. I think that's a winter squash. That is in with this plant that I expected to do something a lot earlier. It's been in that pot for a very long time. It's got a lot of flowers. I'm not sure what the fruit is going to be though, so we'll see. There's a zucchini plant with a zucchini that is ready for harvest. That I probably should pull that and put something else in there. There's an eggplant that had a couple flowers on it. I'm not sure if it's going to fruit or if it's a little late. So tomatoes are doing well. My carrots and parsnips have come up. Planted. I pulled all the Chinese cabbage here. It was just really becoming a haven for slugs, so it looks like I have some golden beets in there, and I planted a couple potatoes underneath that. So I'm not sure what kind of a brassica that is. Could be broccoli, I'm not really sure, but I probably ought to do something with that. My dill is doing very well. I've harvested cilantro. I started some more cilantro in the black little pot on the left, and chives on the one on the right. So that's really what's going on in the garden. Well, there's out there too. A zucchini that's doing well. I think I'm going to make a zucchini quiche this weekend. Tomatoes, producing a lot. Starting to get some red, larger ones, which is awesome. The Swiss chard's doing great. I transplanted sunflowers out there, so we should have about another 8 weeks of frost-free weather. And September can be quite lovely here. It's one of my favorite months because it is cooler. There's usually a little fog in the morning. You could probably see that the grass was very dewy. So there's a fair amount of moisture. Horse news. Bragi had a goopy eye. Can't remember if that I mentioned that last time. During the last episode, I made an appointment with a vet who was supposed to come. It was scheduled for next Monday, September 8th, but he let me put warm compresses on it, and it cleared right up. So I also got very diligent about putting his fly mask on, because it's probably flies that caused that bit of conjunctivitis. So the boys have been having to wear fly masks. Bragi really doesn't mind. Odin doesn't like putting it on. I don't think he likes wearing it, but I think he appreciates not having flies all over his face. Speaking of Odin, good morning. Odin has a bit of a stone bruise, so I haven't been working him very much in the round pen. We've been working on just doing whoa, which is his favorite position, but not doing any trotting because he limps going to the right, but I've seen him gallop out to the pasture, trot up across hard ground when it's supper time. Scratch your nose. Hopefully Bragi's in a stall. It's hard to see because he's a dark horse in a dark stall. So we're going to work with my trainers coming in a couple hours, and we are going to work with Bragi. So I'm going to get to feeding. Hey friends. Hopefully this angle works for you. There is some light shining on my face over here, but at least it's not in the camera. So let's talk about what I'm wearing. This is an old favorite. It's a Berroco pattern. I don't remember if the name of the yarn is Sesame or the name of the pattern is Sesame. So I will find it in my Ravelry project page and share it with you. So what I'm looking at, and I'm going to stand up so I can show you, is the way, this is a bottom up construction, but the way that this, instead of just ribbing it, the first thing that you do is you knit this garter band, and you knit one for the front, knit one for the back, sew it together, and then you knit in the round. So it's kind of cool. So I use the recommended yarn, so it looks like ribbing, but it is actually garter stitch. So I think that's pretty cool. It's getting a little worn looking. I don't even remember what year I knit this. I want to say, I'm just going to pull out a year. I think it might have been 2018. So quite a long time ago, and I've worn the bejeebers out of it. So I'm wondering if we should just catch up on the weekend first, because it was Labor Day weekend, and I hope you all had a nice Labor Day weekend if you're here in the United States. So that means that we got Monday off from work if you are still working and employed by an employer that offers that option as a paid holiday. So it was kind of nice. We had planned to go canoeing, and I was a little bit worried about maybe not so much paddling, but getting the canoe into the back of the truck to the put in zone and that with my shoulder, because I was just afraid I was going to drop it, something would hurt, I would drop it, and that would cause Randy a lot of distress too. The good news is that Randy can lift the canoe by himself and put it in the truck, excuse me, and do all of those things. We bought a used canoe that was made here in the Pacific Northwest. The company's no longer in business. It's a fiberglass canoe, and it's called Easy Rider, was the brand name. Not sure how many years ago it went out of business, but it's kind of cool to have a locally made canoe. I wasn't particularly worried about paddling. I knew I could paddle on my left side because I've got good pulling strength with my left arm. What would be difficult would be lifting. So if I had to lift the paddle with this by using more of my right arm would get kind of double duty. So I was worried about that. As it turned out, Randy didn't feel that good on the day we had planned to go, so we just went for a hike. So we got to go on a couple hikes. I took some pictures on the first hike we did, which I think was Saturday. We went up to Anacortes and walked around Little Cranberry Lake. I used to live up there about 20 years ago, and it just brought back a lot of great memories of me going to that lake, taking a walk with my dog at the time. My dog passed away in 2020 at the ripe old age of 15, and it was just really great to have those memories again of taking her for walks after work, drinking green tea. And then Sunday, I felt like we just did a lot of stuff around the house. And then Monday, we went for another hike instead of the canoe trip. And we went out to, we went west of here, Camano Island area, and walked along a dike. And it was kind of interesting. There was a woman that had a young dog that was off leash, and she was obviously trying to work with the dog, and it was just, and I just had this thought of my old dog, Jody, that I was talking about, and that dog just came running up to me, and it was like a little hound mix, which is what Jody was, and just, wiggly all over. It was so great. And, it was kind of funny because Randy was kind of like, here puppy, and the dog just completely ignored him and kept running to me. And so that was really special. I felt like that was kind of a message from Jody, wherever she is now. I think of her quite a bit. She was a great dog. Anyway, that was the weekend. It was super fun. I had a short work. I am working a little bit today, just because I'm waiting for some information and I'd like to get it distributed if I can. So I'll be checking in and out. My trainer's coming in about an hour and a half to work with Bragi, so that'll be great. But let's talk about the knitting, because I have a whole lot of stuff here. Let's just start with the blanket, because I think I made some progress since I last showed you. I started on the, I can't even hardly get the bag in my lap because it's so full of yarn, and these are all like scraps and minis and stuff. So I am working on the second stripe. So hopefully you can see that okay. My progress keeper is right here. So this is where I left off. I was still on the first stripe, and so I started down the second stripe. So that's where I'm at. So it's kind of cool. It's going to be 25 by 25. It's a mitered square blanket, 100 acre wood blanket, patterned by Kay Jones, and it's for Summer of Stitching 2025. The bags are made by my mom, so I have this great horse fabric that I have the actual project in, and then I have this more farm motif that all the yarn is in. So I'll just, I'll keep plugging away on that. I'm not sure if 25 by 25 is going to be big enough, but I think it'll be easy enough to add to one. It'll probably be wide enough, but I guess I can just keep going, you know, just keep adding strips as I go. Next project in this bag, this is the Float Tote by Nitty Natty, is the Ghost Horses sweater. I tried it on this morning and posted on Instagram, so if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I tried it on, and it's fitting very nicely. I'm super happy with this. This is made out of spin cycle yarn, which is the darker colored yarn. Let me show you the front. Here's the front. You see the horses. And the contrast color, the light gray, is a Brooklyn tweed. So yeah, really happy with it. It fits great. I think I'm on the third ball of the spin cycle yarn. So I'm using what's mixed weight yarn. The spin cycle is a sport weight, and the Berroco Brooklyn tweed is a fingering weight, but they are going very nicely together, and my gauge swatch worked out. What else do I have? I have something that I pulled out of hibernation, and I'll explain why here shortly when I get to the knitting fails. So this is the Love Note sweater. I think this is the front. So this is fingering and lace weight mohair held together. This is a repurposed yarn. It's a hand-dyed yarn from Ray Whiting of Knittivity. And he doesn't name the colorways, but I just love this color. I had originally knit this sweater, or use this yarn for a pattern called Calliope. It's a free pattern, but I didn't like the way it fit. So, you know, I ripped it out. I mean, I probably had it in my closet or my dresser drawer for at least a year. And then I decided I didn't want to, I just wasn't wearing it, but I love the yarn. So I'm going to make it into something I like. This is the Love Note, and by Tin Can Knits, and this will be the second one that I've knit. It's knitting on US size 10 needles, or 6mm. So made a little progress with that. I'm going to talk about a couple new cast-ons. I think I mentioned them last week. And I was just getting ready for some travel knitting because we are leaving a week from tomorrow to fly back east. So these are the Lemontop socks. This is a pattern by Kate Jones. It is, I believe this is a patron pattern, and she does not make her patron patterns available for sale. I am using this beautiful yellow speckled yarn that is by Bad Sheep, I think, and it's in the colorway Daffodil. It's hand painted in North Pole, Alaska. So it's a 75-25, 464 yards, and I haven't got very far on it. So Chelgu red lace, size 0. I probably cast on 56 stitches this time because I have noticed that even the 60 stitch socks are just a little big. So yeah, not very far, just on the ribbing so far. So these are the ones I'm really planning to, so yeah, I only have 7 rows done, and I think that the cuff is supposed to be at least 12. So I'm planning to do a lot of airplane knitting next Saturday when we fly from Seattle to Boston. So let me show you another cast on. Oh, this bag. It's made by my mom. It's a quilted zipper bag. It's lined. It has a pocket. I love this bag. I use it all the time, especially for socks. Here's another bag. This is a quilted bag with a drawstring, and it is lined. It's got this beautiful batik fabric. and it has some hand-dyed fabric as well. I am making, this is another patron pattern, and it's called the Island Socks, and it's also by Kay Jones. So if you follow them, you'll know, even on YouTube, you will know that they did Dan did a story on Holy Island. And so that's what these socks were inspired by. So this is a sock set by Hugh Loco that I've had. I bought it impulsively, of course. And it's inspired by chicken. So I think she must have backyard chickens or something. And so, yeah, these are all supposed to represent the color of a chicken. I don't have chickens, so I don't know, but the colors really appealed to me. So I purchased it. And I have made a little bit more progress on this. This is very much a stripy sock. So here is, let's see if we can get this out of the way. Chalgu red lace. So it might be hard to see because the colors are so dark, but that light blue really stands out. So, so far I'm really enjoying knitting it, and I think I'll enjoy wearing these too. So I'll talk about my yarn fails, because this will also go into, or my knitting fails. This will also go into some projects that I need to fix. Actually, I'm going to do this one first. So this is another bag made by my mom. So penguin on one side, polar bears on the other. Here we go. So this is the So Faded. It's a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and I was expecting that there would be more instructions about when to start fading. It is on a separate page, saying that you should, in her sweater, in her sample, she knit so many inches before she started fading. And I don't necessarily like instructions when they're on two different pages, so I just kept knitting and knitting and knitting, and then noticed that I was getting very low on yarn. The other thing I don't like about it, and then then I was like, well, when do I start fading? Because you need like at least 5 rows. I probably could start that now. I'm not a huge fan of the garter sleeves. So I don't know. I should put this on some try-on tubing and then just start fading. Have I separated for sleeves? Maybe that's why I feel a little stuck right now. I could separate for sleeves right now, but then, so here are my options. If I separate for sleeves right now, I'm not going to have enough yarn for the fade on the sleeves, because I only have this much. And then it would be a fairly sharp line going from this color to the next color that I'm fading in. I could rip out a few rows. I don't love that either, especially because I'm in a section where there's a lot of increases. I could make this a t-shirt. And just like have these capped sleeves and just kind of finish. I could do that. Maybe that's what I'll do. Let me show you the other yarn. But I love the yarn. It is, the colorway is by Woolen Women. It is Kentucky Derby. I bought it during when I was having retail therapy, when I injured my right shoulder in January. And these are the 2 colors that I plan to fade in. Whoops, that's my gauge swatch right here. So my thought was, if I'm going to rip this out, my thought was that I would try to get, I bought this yarn from a local yarn store. It's called Nightshade. My thought was to rip it out and knit another Caitlin Hunter colorwork pattern. It's called the Tellybean. It's got these great birds. So I was thinking the main color would be that purple. The birds would be that Woolen Women Kentucky Derby. And then this little accent color that's right here would be that bright pink. I have another similar 3 skeins of yarn that's from a dyer in Idaho that I could potentially rip this out, do the So Faded with those colors. It's more of a yellow, like a speckled yellow and a pink and some, I don't remember the other color. I could do that and then do the Tellybean in these if I can find that that Nightshade colorway at my local yarn store. So hopefully, if she still has it. I bought it in at a yarn festival, a local yarn festival. So hopefully that wasn't just for the festival. Hopefully she still has them. I will keep you posted on this. So no firm decisions on this. I am going to go to the yarn store today. I have a PT appointment this afternoon and it's like halfway to the yarn store. So I might as well just go to the yarn store, right? I think so. Or if my meeting gets canceled, I'll go to the yarn store before my meeting this afternoon. So that is that. I am going to put that aside. The next one I'm going to is in this bag, also made by my mom. This fabric was purchased in Door County, Wisconsin, which is on Lake Michigan, on the Wisconsin side. So I was knitting this pair of socks, I think they're called Purr-fect. It's Charlotte Stone book. Yeah, Purr-fect. So, whoops, wrong side. So kitty cat socks. And I was using leftover yarn from this top. I love this top. I love the color. This is another hand-dyed yarn by Nativity. I don't like the giant armholes. I did make this a size bigger. I mean, the pattern basically recommends negative ease, which yeah, no thanks. So I made it bigger, but it makes the armholes really big. So I want to fill in these armholes somehow. I'm going to have to try it on and really think about it, but I may just do a stockinette kind of back and forth to fill it in. Otherwise, I have to wear a tank top under it, and it's even though it's fingering weight, it's wool, so it's quite warm. It'd be a good layering piece. Here's where I got with this. So I started with Chowgu Red Lace Magic Loop. It's really hard to knit colorwork socks with Magic Loop. And they're just not stretchy enough. And then I got these Chowgu, I think they're called Twist, and they're a shorty set. And the difference between stretch on this colorwork side and this colorwork side is significant. I also forgot to go back down a needle size when I was knitting the short row heel. This is a super simple short row heel, by the way. There's no wrap and turns. It's not a German short row. It's basically you knit and then you turn around and then you purl, then you turn around. It's super easy and it makes a really tidy heel. So that is in the Charlotte Stone Joyful Colorwork book. That might be my new favorite heel. Anyway, so the main color of the sock is this, made from this. And I want to rip it out so I can repurpose the yarn to do the repair. So I'm going to rip that out. I'm not in a huge hurry. These are the Chowgu. They're expensive, but they, but I'm going to say they're worth it. So if you need a lot of socks, they come with these little twist cables in these very short sections. I think there's 3. There's a 5-inch, 6-inch, and 8-inch, and I don't remember which one I have on this one. It might be the 8-inch, but it provides enough stretch so that the floats don't get tight. So I'm going to rip those out. I'm using 2.75 for the color work, and then size 2.75 millimeter, so it's a size 2, I think. And then size 0 for the ribbing, and should have for that, the heel. Anyway, so I'm using scraps for the color work section. And the other thing that I didn't use enough contrast on these so that you can see like the eyes and the whiskers of the cats, whereas this one you can. So I had enough contrast. So I'm just going to start over on these, and I will do that after sometime today. My camera is running low on battery, so it may be protesting the amount that I'm talking, but hopefully I'll be about done here shortly. So, and the other thing I'm going to use for the main color, I have this West Yorkshire spinners in fingering weight. So I'm not, this is a lace weight held double. So that's also, you know, in terms of yarn management, when you're holding 3 colors and then the main color is you have to hold 2 strands together, it's a little bit confusing. So sometimes it's just good to start over. I've got 2 more things to talk about. Another thing to fix, I need to fix the collar of this is just too big. I mean, it kind of like, because the sweater is kind of heavy, even though it's fingering weight, it pulls the neck too much. So I want to fix that. And I'll probably just pick up stitches and do more ribbing and just decrease at the back. That's usually the easiest way to do it. I mean, sometimes you have to decrease like 3 stitches in a row in order to get, so you don't mess up your ribbing. And then finally, hopefully, battery, please stay with me. I am going to do the Halloween cowl knit along that's hosted by Tellybean Knits. It's a mystery knit along. This will be the 3rd year I've done it. She does they're always color work, and they're always these kind of, what does she call them? The shape is like it's kind of like a mini poncho. So it's a cowl that you knit back and forth, and then you join in the round, and then it just lies really nicely, or lays really nicely on your torso, and then it just kind of flares out over your shoulder. So it's not a poncho, but it's called the Halloween Party MKAL. So, and it's Tellybean Knits. If you want to look at it, I love her designs. So the yarn, it calls for 6 different types of yarn. Colors is the word I'm looking for. So, and it's like 2 light, 2 medium, and 2 dark. So let me show you what I have here. So I have, I have a light, medium, and dark. And I get my silly little fingers out of the way here. And here, a light, medium, and dark. And I don't know if I can hold all these together. I can try. My battery is in the red zone, so let me see if I can do this and get there. I don't know if you can see all that, but I think this is going to be really pretty. So once it starts getting to be Octoberish, I'll start wearing the other MKAL cowls so that I made. So super fun. One was Witch's Brew, and the other was, I don't remember. I am going to end it here because my battery is going to demand that I do. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you would like to share your knitting aspirations, maybe your fails if you're willing to do that. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you next week.